Welcome to the Man Cave Podcast with Dan Casper.
Let's recap from the last few days here surrounding the Brewers. So going back from over the weekend, splitting against the Pirates, which I'll call it. I wanted 3 out of 4. I wanted 3 out of 4 against the Pirates, and let's call a spade here. Brewers maybe a little bit fortunate just to get out of Pittsburgh with a series split. So a little disappointing. It was a little disappointing for me to see the Brewers just get 2 out of 4 against the Pirates. And on the other hand, they might have just been really lucky to get out of Pittsburgh by getting 2 wins here. I mean, the fourth and final game, on Sunday, just come from behind victory, able to get out of there. I'm like, oh gosh, lose 3 out of 4 against the last place Pittsburgh Pirates. Come on, guys. And luckily, the Brewers were able to get a 6-5 victory on Sunday. So, and then yesterday, going up against the Red Sox, Jackson Chourio getting things started off with a home run right away off of Garrett Groshette. And we saw the returns of Aaron Ashby and D.L. Hall. And coming at good times here, too, because, Brewers' bullpen has been taxed. No doubt about Trevor McGill, 34 pitches yesterday. And he has been worked a lot in the last few days here, so he's probably going to get some downtime here. But D.L. Hall pitched 2 1/3, giving up just 2 hits, striking out 1. He pitched 33 pitches in 2 1/3 as well. Chad Patrick, another start for him, 4 2/3 yesterday, just 3 hits, no earned runs, 6 Ks, a quality start from Chad Patrick. Again, he has been kind of, really, when you look at it and you look at his play this year, maybe the most consistent starter, at least one of the most consistent starters or pitchers that this team has had so far this season. I mean, really, when you kind of look at it, he hasn't allowed more than 3 earned runs in any of his starts right now, and I think he's just kind of quietly putting together a very consistent and a very solid season for this team. And you look at the records, like 2-4, but he's got a 2.97 ERA. Now he's sub 3. He's pitched in 12 games. He's started 11. Put it in perspective, he's started the same amount of games as Freddie Peralta so far this season for the Brewers. Okay, but you look at his game logs here. Let me bring these up here and just kind of give you a little bit of a the most he's allowed, most earned runs he's allowed, and they've all come in May. But he gave up 3 earned runs against the White Sox back on May 1st. He gave up 3 earned runs against Houston. For what it's worth, the Houston one was a win, White Sox one was a loss, and 3 earned runs against Minnesota. That was also a loss. But other than that, I mean, April in 5 games. 5 total earned runs. And in May, he's going to finish up in May. But so far in May, in 6 games, he's given up 12 earned runs. So about an average of 2 earned runs per game. You're talking about Mr. Consistent here. And I think Chad Patrick has quietly had a very solid season so far. And, don't get caught up in the win-loss record, 2-4. It's that 2.97 ERA. And the amount of earned runs he's been given up. I mean, I think he has kind of gone under the radar here a little bit, which, you look at the Brewers and all the starters. I mean, the starting pitching has definitely been one of the top storylines as we're into the second quarter of the season, whether it's been because of injuries or whether it's because, Freddie Peralta and how he's pitched, or even Logan Henderson and how well he has pitched this year. And then you have some of the down performances and such. And then obviously we've talked a lot about the return of Brandon Woodruff and that. But then you got Chad Patrick, who is putting together a very quality, a very good and a very, a nice kind of, what's the word I'm trying to find here to describe Chad Patrick's season? Just, again, I think I keep going back to the word consistent. And he's put together a lot of quality starts, very good quality starts here for the Brewers so far this season. Has he pitched a ton of innings in his starts? Not a ton. I mean, when you kind of look at it, he is of 12 games so far. And his first game was back in March 29th when he pitched an inning against the Yankees. But since then, he has gotten starts. I mean, he's hit 6 innings, 1, 2, it's just 3 times in his 11 starts. And he's gone back-to-back games where he's 4 2/3. If there's been one thing with Chad Patrick that you'd like to see a better performance from him, or the thing that you'd like to see him really improve on, it's the pitch counts. He's kind of like Freddie Peralta in this too, where he racks up a lot of pitches and not a lot of innings. Because you go back to his last 2 starts here, 79 pitches and 4 2/3 in yesterday's game. 89 pitches and 4 2/3 in his previous start against Baltimore. And then Minnesota, where he went 6 innings, gave up 3 earned runs, 88 pitches. But, White Sox, 5 2/3, over 100 pitches. You'd like to see him become a little bit more consistent, I guess, in the pitch counts and try to lower that and not rack up those high pitch counts, because now we're looking at this Brewers team and you're probably a little bit nervous when it comes to the bullpen, because this team has really had to utilize their bullpen a lot in these last few days. I mean, they're taxed, especially, we talked about Trevor McGill. He's taxed here a little bit. And it's a big reason why Logan Henderson was sent down to the minor leagues, which I know last week I was saying you better not send that guy down for as well as he's pitching. And he almost picked up, his 4th win over the weekend? 4th straight win? For as well as he's pitching, you do not take him out of that starting rotation. And while I understand the move, doesn't mean I have to like it. And some of the reasons is the bullpen. You got DL Hall returning. You got Aaron Ashby returning. There are guys that are going to be put in the bullpen to give you some innings, eat up some innings, some long relief options. So when you get those 2 guys back, you're putting those guys in a bullpen that'll give the other guys a little bit more relief, if you will. So I get that. I understand that part of it. The bullpen needs some fresher arms. They need some more help. You look at, okay, I don't know if I'm fully on board with this one, because I know Brewers.com and Adam McCalvey had a piece up there breaking down Logan Henderson's option to AAA, and he talked about starting depth. I understand they've got a plethora of starting pitchers, but to me it's like, but is it the best? We talk about it with Green Bay and the offensive line, the 5 best will play. And I get it, baseball's a little bit different because you got to play the option card and who's got options left, who doesn't, and you can send them up, send them down, blah, blah. I understand that part. But I also feel like, is this the best 5? Do we have the best 5 right now in our starting rotation? Because the current rotation right now is Freddie Peralta. Now it's Aaron Savali who's getting a start tonight. Chad Patrick and Quinn Priester, and Jose Quintana is going to get a rehab start today. Then you got Brandon Woodruff coming back, which I'm all about too. Nestor Cortez isn't going to be back until after the All-Star break, it sounds like. So, I mean, you look at that, who do you kind of maybe set down? And then, the question is like, what about Quinn Priester? Why isn't he being the guy being sent down? And he entered the year with just one minor league option remaining, and he logged 11 days at AAA with Boston before a trade to Milwaukee. An option isn't officially burned until a player spends 20 days in the minor leagues. So, theoretically, according to Adam McCalvy, the Brewers could go into next season with one option remaining on Priester if he doesn't accumulate 9 more days in the minors this year. They're playing that card. So, it's the option card here. It's the option card. That's part of it. I understand it. Doesn't mean I still have to be fully on board here. The third one here is, okay, I could get a little bit behind on this one. This one I could get on. And it's more about extending to see how, because Logan Henderson hasn't really been pushed in terms of innings. So he missed, because he was a draft pick in 2021. He missed a lot of 2022 with a fractured elbow. And last season, he topped out at 81, just a little over 81 innings. This year, he's already logged 51 innings in AAA. So you're looking at it, as Pat Murphy said, he's not 6'4", 215 pounds, and there's concern he's had injury history. Okay, I get that. I understand that. I respect that. Okay. You don't want to maybe for a guy who's had some arm issues, who's dealt with some injuries, and the most that he's topped out has been 81, a little over 81. He's already at 51, and you're just into the second quarter of the season. I get that. I understand that. You're going to try to probably work him and try to, push it and try to, see how far can you go with his arm, because you don't want to overdo it with the youngster. You don't want to put him in a spot where you're overdoing it and all of a sudden, all right, he's got an elbow issue, and then not only is he done for this year, but maybe it affects next year. I get that. I understand that reasoning, and I respect that. I don't think this, though, means that we're not going to see Logan Henderson at all again this year at the major league level. Pat Murphy's already said that too. It's just now it's going to be interesting if they are concerned about the workload in the innings. When he does come back, is he going to be a guy that's going to be coming out of the bullpen and then, kind of working up the stamina, assuming everybody's healthy? You get Quintana back, he's healthy. Brandon Woodruff makes his debut, he's healthy. Those two, you got Freddie Peralta in there. Quinn Priester sounds like he's staying in the rotation. And then, and Aaron Savali and such. So is Henderson in there. You got Jacob Mizorowski, who's still waiting. I still feel like we're going to see him at some point this year. Maybe even if it's a spot starter that. But, you got to feel for the guy, too. A guy who has pitched remarkably. So awesome. It's been fantastic. And he gets sent down to AAA. He's going to be back. There's no question. He knows he's going to be back. The Brewers have told him he's going to be back. Everybody in the world knows he's going to be back. It's still, we're all human. We all have human reactions and feelings and such. Got to imagine, a little disappointed, a little down. But he'll move on from that. He'll continue to get work in at AAA Nashville. And eventually he'll be back up. But you look at his last few games, and if there's an argument to be made, he was the best starter, at least a top 2 starter for this ball club. So that's, kind of some of the pitching stuff. Hitting-wise, are we starting to see a little bit of an improvement, or, well, first of all, improvement, but also are we maybe, hopefully, fingers crossed, are we getting Christian Yelich in a little bit of a rhythm here? Was it last Thursday, a couple dingers in the game. And then he's on a little bit of a hitting streak right now. But are we starting to get Christian Yelich? I think it's way too early to be saying, oh, Christian Yelich is back. And I don't want to get into that. But maybe just finally, are we getting in a little bit of confidence back? Are we starting to get into a little bit of a rhythm here? He's been hitting well. He's definitely getting the attention because, one, he's Christian Yelich, and, he's got 9 home runs. And honestly, he had 10, 11 at the All-Star break last year. He's up to 9 this year. So, he's got the home run ball, but it's just the consistency and getting all those other numbers and the averages and the on-base OPS and all that up. But, he puts together back-to-back-to-back games where he's getting some hits, getting on base and that. But don't overlook what Joey Ortiz and Caleb Durbin have also done in their last 2 games here. Caleb Durbin, his last 26 at-bats, 308, 357 on base, slugging .423, and some big-time hits too. Some clutch hits too. He has been a lot more confident at the plate. Joey Ortiz, guy who has really, really struggled from the plate this year. What has he done in his last 7 games? 316, 435 on base, 526 slugging. The 2 guys that are consistently at the bottom of the lineup. The 2 left side of the infielder. Especially for Caleb Durbin. You want to stay in the show? You want to stay in the Major League Ball Club? Produce offensively. And Caleb Durbin's not going to continue to be a 300-plus hitter for the rest of the season. That'd be flipping fantastic, but he's not. But if he could continue to show he's more comfortable and more consistent at the plate, the longer he's going to be up there. They don't have a ton of options behind him at AAA. Same at shortstop with Joey Ortiz. But it's good to see these 2 guys maybe finally getting, again, into a little bit of a rhythm. Maybe starting to get some of the confidence at the plate. That's what we want to see with these guys. Joey Ortiz hitting a home run in his last few at-bats. He's not the biggest power guy. But, what was it? Yesterday you had Ortiz and Durbin with back-to-back doubles. Trading spots, right? That's what you want to see, especially from the bottom of your lineup, bottom of your order. Getting those guys going. But the Brewers have, let's also face it, they've got a lot of ground to make up when you look at where things are standing right now in the NL Central. Cubs continue to play some very good baseball. They're making it very difficult on teams like the Brewers right now, or the rest of their division. Brewers are tied for 3rd in the NL Central. They're 1 game below 500, 27-28, but they're 6.5 back from the Cubs for first place. They're 3.5 back from the Cardinals, who are in second place, and the Cardinals are 30-24. If you're wondering, wild card, Brewers are actually closer to a wild card spot than they are for the division right now. Brewers are currently 4.5 games back from a wild card spot. But, this NL, National League, especially when you look at the National League West, that has really made things difficult for a lot of other teams in the National League. Your division leaders, no surprises, Phillies, Dodgers, Cubs. Your current wild card teams, the Mets, which they're in a battle between, the Phillies for first place. You got the Padres in there. You got the Giants in there. Cardinals are 1 game out. And then you've got the Diamondbacks, who are at 500 right now. They're above the Brewers. But it's kind of a cluster right now. We're past Memorial Day. Do we stop now, finally saying it's early? It's early in the season. Maybe we don't say it's still early when it comes to like playoff chases and standings and that, because it's still fairly. There's maybe the best way to say now is there's time. There's time to make up some ground. There's time to make up some ground in this playoff chase, in the standings chase. I don't want to say playoff chase because that's really early to talk about playoffs right now. But there's time to make up some ground in the standings. And there's time to make up some ground in the divisional standings. And right now, I think this is a crucial stretch for the Brewers in terms of that. You're going up against a Red Sox team that's struggling. You got players after the game yesterday saying they're tired of losing, and they're starting to display some of their frustrations right now. And if you're the Brewers, take advantage of that. Try to beat them down. Get this home series win. Because, Nelly, is it going to get harder. Philly, Cincy, San Diego, Atlanta, St. Louis, Cubs, Twins. Oh, that is going to be a huge stretch. You know what? I'll even throw these two in here because, and this takes us all the way to the end of June, but immediately after that Minnesota series, you've got Pittsburgh and Colorado. Again, last place teams, at home, you better win those series. So, come July 1st, when they begin a road series against the Mets, where is this team going to be at? Will they be above 500? By the time July 1st rolls around, when they hit the road to take on the Mets, you've got Boston right now, Philadelphia, Cincinnati, San Diego, Atlanta. 4 games against the Cardinals in Milwaukee, 3 against the Cubs in Chicago, 3 in Minnesota, and then at home against Pittsburgh and Colorado. 2 series that you should win. Will this Brewers team, who is right now under 500, a game under 500, will they be above 500 when July 1st rolls around? What do you think? And I'll add on to it. Do you think they need to be above 500 on July 1st to really be, in your opinion, in playoff contention? Considering how everything is going on right now, how everything is going on in the National League. We just went through those teams and where the standings are right now in the second quarter of the season. Behind the Brewers, who are 4.5. If we just look straight at the wild card standings, they're 4.5 back. Cincinnati's also 4.5 back. You got the Braves, after their incredibly slow start, they're 5 back. Nationals, for crying out loud, are 6.5 back. But considering how the National League is playing out right now, and knowing this stretch of games coming up for the Brewers, do you feel like on July 1st that they got to be above 500 for you to be like, okay, yeah, they're going to be in playoff contention? Because then you start to think, as soon as we get to July, trades. Are they going to be buyers? Are they going to be sellers? Because I think when it comes to July 1st, when it comes to the Brewers, to see where they're at, we may have an idea whether they're going to be buyers or sellers. Now, the thing is, if they're hovering around 500 or they're just like a game or two above or below, then I don't know. Then that makes it a little bit more interesting. But, if you're talking about 6 games below 500, heck, maybe surprisingly 7 games above 500, maybe we'll know the answer there too. But do you think they got to be above 500 when it comes to July 1st for you to be like, okay, I feel like they're in a good spot to still compete for a playoff spot, whether it's a division or maybe a wild card? Because you look at then July, I know we're kind of getting ahead of ourselves here, but then you look at July, you got a couple series against the Dodgers, that Mets team in there, and then Cubs.